Yes, welcome back. And in this video, I want to talk about how is my first year, how is my first semester at the University of Utah in the program of MEAE, also called Utah Games. We made a lot of progress. We made it an arcade game and we made it VR, and currently we're making a somewhat close to chain together, but more like a top-down version. I think it has been quite a fun journey for me, and I can't wait to show you what I have accomplished and also what I have learned in this, I'll say, half a year, right, in Utah. And check it out. So the first game we made was an arcade game that we were chosen a topic that is based on an old classic arcade game that was made before. Then we were to add one extra functionality that is able to be run on tablets. So what we got was Popeyes. So it's basically like a Donkey Kong game, but a little bit different. Then the functionality we decided was drag and drop. So we get to do the drag and drop on the tablet. And in order to make it make sense, is that we added an NPC that you get to drag the NPC into different vaults. And the idea is that once you drag it into the vault, if the vault is open, then there will be a little thing that will be dropped from the top, and you'll be able to collect it, and that'll be points. And after you collect enough points, you will be proceeding to the next level. So the concept is that I want to make it like mecha, and once you get into the vault, there will be bolts and different parts of the mechs that'll be dropping from the top, and after you collect off them, the mechs will be able to resemble and you basically be the boss or something, right? So the idea is that I feel like it was really ambitious, especially in a team of two engineers, right? It really is. We have two engineers, we have one producer, I believe it's one or two designer, and there's one art and two TAs. Well, two arts and two TAs. So the thing is, we have, I would say, a pretty big pre-scope of what the game is gonna be. Was the time range of a month, and from the engineering side, I haven't used Unity before, so it's actually my first time using Unity. And to be honest though, I feel like the experience kind of sucked, that I wasn't able to do a lot of things. Well, I did some. I did the drag and drop, I did the scoring system, I did a safe game system, I did the volt thing as well, how it changes and how it drops the thing from the top, and the bolts or energy bar or whatnot, it will be swaying, so it's gonna act like a leaf when it's fall. I did these. I did the logic of how level goes to the next level as well. These are really simple basic fundamentals, so it's give me a pretty basic understanding of how Unity runs, prefab, everything, right? But the thing is that there's a lot of features that we want to accomplish. End up, we just didn't make it happen simply because I don't know. Well, it's not like I don't know how to, but it's really time consuming, especially when you don't know the engine and also like kind of everything, and you have to just relearn everything. So it's 1 month for me, it's not going to accomplish much, but for a really experienced Unity developer, I bet this game would be a piece of cake. But that's what it is. I think that's a learning experience for me. I learned that I can never be in the tech lead or lead programmer type of role in a project that I'm just unfamiliar with. So for this project, I kind of leaned back and didn't really ask for anything like timeline or whatnot. I'm just doing what the producer was telling me to do, and try to catch up to the deadline, which I did. But the game turned out kind of shit, to be honest, because there was plenty bugs. There was the boss wasn't functioning, and we are missing some of the sprite animations even at the end of finishing up the game. So that was to be honest quite disappointing. I believe it's quite disappointing for the entirety of the team. We wanted to do something complete, right? But if at the end of the day we wasn't able to hand out something that's at least fair or good, right? Then it's not a good experience for the entire team, right? You made something you are not proud of, and I think that's just what it is. So it kind of hurt my ego, to be honest, because first of all, it's a Unity project. Secondly, I can't believe I just made something that's kind of bad. So that's the thing I learned, that I will push myself a little bit harder on my next project, as well as I will have better communications. So for the second game, I was desperately needed something to prove myself. So basically every day and also every night, I stayed until like extremely late, like 9 p.m., 10 p.m., to push out as much work as I can, as well as communication. I have been doing a lot of back and forth with mostly our designer about the concept of the game and also, like what type of message and also the narratives that we want to give off. Since I was extremely familiar with Unreal Engine and also VR. If you had been checking out my channels, that you will know I have been messing around with VR for quite a long time. And for this project, it was kind of the project that I needed to kind of show off and to prove what I'm capable of. So there's a lot more functionality that I already know how to implement in VR. While there was a lot driving cars, all the UI menus, the interactives, grab components, the VR motion controller and how it's implemented in our engine, and also the hand, like the animation blueprints for, mostly VR hands and also other things to display in VR. I was, extremely familiar with. So, um, keep that in mind. This project only has a duration of 1 month to complete. So, as you can see, the game trailer, it's a complete game cycle. We have 3 days. There's a lot of content packed. It's pretty impressive, to be honest, for a team of less than 10 to push out a project like this, from pre-production to publishing, within 1 month, basically. Yeah, so of course, while I don't want to like brag or take all the credits, but I have to say that most of the functionalities was implemented by me, even though we have other engineers as well as our designers being pretty technical, and also TAs are pretty helpful as well. But most of the functionality I decided to just kind of do it and rush it myself. That's why the game is able to have so much features while being developed in such a short time. And I want to show you something I think we did extremely well in this project compared to my previous one. For previous projects, the requirement for team communication by the school is that we're to use Microsoft Team, but apparently the software is kind of shit and unintuitive, to be honest. My other teammates agreed with using Discord instead of Microsoft Team as the main way or main method of communication. And we did really well of sharing ideas and telling each other what to, well, not like what to do, but what has accomplished and what we want to achieve. We had a lot of, well, at least I had a lot of back and forth directly with our art team, with TA, as well as designer. For our team, we had an idea of how big of the scene is going to be, and for it to be accomplished in VR, we want to make sure the size is correct. We want to give out the concept of whether this is indoor, if this is outdoor, how we are going to handle the texture like as soon as possible. And of course the texture material is done by technical artist. We want to have a common agreement as soon as possible, so the TA and also the artist is able to work on whatever they need to work on as soon as possible, right? So after it's done, me as engineer, I will be able to put it all together, right? Let's say a gameplay engineer, right? This should be a role of gameplay engineer. As you can see, this is the last 1 or 2 week of finishing up this project. At the moment, I named it Forget Me Not, and then we change it to something else later on. But this is this is pretty awesome, I would say. This is the like the time I put in, and also the, well, I wouldn't say just how capable I am, but I'm able to like put everything together in like an extremely short time. Well, it was like what is it, like 8 p.m. Well, if you check the time, right, it's always like pretty late. Like I always like stay pretty late, and also our team, has been really supportive of what I've want to achieve, and also what we believe the vision we're able to complete. So I really appreciate my team on this project, and also their response, and also their work is swift, and also just working overtime. To be honest, like our team and also TAs, they are they're working their ass off for like the previous the first 1 or 2 weeks. Yeah, it was extremely awesome, but I believe that look at this, like 10:36 p.m. I was going a little bit crazy over this project, not gonna lie. But I think by showing up, and also by just proving the concept is workable, and I am able to pull it off, I think it really gives our teammates a lot of confidence to try as hard as they can, and try to do it as fast as they can, because they know that their work will not be wasted. I'll try my best to put everybody's work in, even though it might be extra hour or like extra 2 hours on my end. But I think it was what it takes to push out a great project with partially my vision, right? And I have to prove to everybody, at least on my team, that we're able to accomplish this, right? We're able to achieve this in just a period of time of a month. So I would really say this is one of the best projects among all the other games that were made at University of Utah. Especially you think about it, like we only had 1 month of development cycle. Just really great stuff, to be honest. Like, and look at all the times, right? Like 1 a.m. Midnight. I think our team did like extremely I don't know, like our team did extremely well, and just I really think like we pushed each other pretty hard. Even though we didn't really, say that, oh, like do you gotta do that. It's just like I'm doing my best, try to like show my teammates that what we are able to pull off as the final result. And I really think like the last 2 weeks or last 1 week, we really give everybody the confidence, and we really give I don't know, like boost the ambition, I would say, like boost the confidence, and also the ambition to let's make this thing as complete as possible. Add little details like the water running, the sound, the indicators. Yeah, a lot of stuff was added like last minute, I would say, because it just I don't know. I want this game to be better, right? I want this game to be better than anybody else. Simply put, is that I know like a lot of things I say sounds very like self-centered or whatnot, but yeah, like this is my attitude towards the production, right? So it turned out to be really great, because I'm able to handle a lot of stuff even on the TA sides, and yeah, it worked out well, and we're going back and forth with the TA, with the designer, about what type of message you want to deliver, and also how we can play around with the shader the technical artist offered, right? A lot of little small stuff, animation. Well, this is not necessarily animation, but well, I feel like this way of working, it really only work in a really capable small team, because well, like for my third project, it's a bigger team. It's a 20 people ish, like a little bit less than 20 people team, and I just wasn't able to do as much or has as much power compared to the smaller team.
Somewhere in the forest, two witchy bird sisters search for lost children. Bound together by a magic chain, you and a friend must solve puzzles and find the lost children across 3 levels in order to open the final door. With the help of a house that walks on bird legs, run, jump, and squawk to your feathery heart's content. Grab a couple controllers and a friend, and try not to drag them around too much, because this game is a prototype and you might break the physics. But that's all part of the fun of Baba Yaga. Thanks for playing.
For the third game, the style that was given was Baba Yaga, and also the keyword we were given was synchronize. So, speak of synchronizing, two things come to mind immediately. One is a music video game, a music game, right? Basically, you press key whenever the beat is hitting or something like that. The other is making a multiplayer game. That's what synchronization would also mean. To make it simpler, we decided to choose the multiplayer approach, but to make it local co-op and also just two-player, right? So that would be one of the easiest approach, and also meanwhile satisfying the requirement for the keyword. The functionalities I was responsible for was all the game modes as well as how the player is set up, like the chains, using physical actor that connects different chain links with each other, and it's procedurally generated. And we also have two physics actors acting as pawn or a character in this case. As you can see in the screen, that's two birds. The entirety set up and also the logic behind the movements, the lifting the other player above head, is done by me. The interactive components was the actors in the scene, like Big Rocks, was handled by another engineer. Yeah, and mostly I think these are the main functions that made Booba Yuga, which is this game called Booba Yuga. And yeah, the level actors like the buttons and also cutscenes sequencers were handled by designers. And yeah, it was I would say compared to the last project, the amount of work I did is less intensive, but it was still technical challenging, especially during the first iteration, the first week and also second week. It was pretty hard at figuring out how to work the physics, right? Using physics handle, and also set the right parameters, and also to make sure to have the right values and the right, I don't know, booleans to be toggled in order for the chain and also the character to act properly, right? And considering edge scenarios, for example, ledging, when one player is dangling off the cliff, we want to have the ability to drag the other player out of it, right? To drag it up, to lift it up. So that was handled using physics as well. How I did it was, well, I basically, so how I did it is I have a list of chain link, a static mesh, and for each chain link, I calculate the distance and also basically the vector between its location compared to its previous chain link, if that makes sense. So, for example, if the entire chain has 30 chain links, so in a list, right, it will be like 30, right, 30 elements in it. And whenever you iterate, you just compare and store the value of the vector that is compared to the last element of the list. I don't know if that makes sense, but it should. And if it's at the start of the link or at the end of the link, the vector will be calculated based on its current element as well as the bird, right? If it's the beginning, then it's bird player one. And if it's at the end of the link, it will be player, how do I say it? Player two, right? Bird player two. And the sequence will be reversed if this action, if this pulling mechanism is triggered on the other player. So player one will be iterating from the beginning of the list to the end. And for player two, I will be iterating from the end of the list to the beginning, right? To the zero index of the list. So that's how I handle the polling mechanism. It's basically just giving a force that is pointed to the previous chain link, and yeah, it make it. I don't know. And it's kind of hard to describe it. It feels more like a drag, than pulling, but it works in all the edge scenarios. So that was like the approach I did. So I've also done the version control as well as publishing for this game onto Steam. The previous game was published onto itch.io. Yeah, the requirement for the school is it needs to have the itch page. But I'm always the type of guy to push a little extra mile and make it a little bit better. So and the feedback from the peers, from the cohort, as well as the faculty is pretty positive, even though there's bugs here and there, and a lot of methods we use to implement, for example, like respawning, and also some of the UIs were kind of brute force. But it wasn't, I don't know, it's probably I could have take over more parts of the game besides the core system. But I don't know, but we have three designers on this project. So we decided to let them do their thing. So level designers, I don't know, you guys choose who's the level designer, narrative, or not. We had a designer that's really good at drawing, and we had an extremely technical designer, and we have a designer that's somewhat in the learning phase. So it's whatever. But it's great to always see someone from other department that step up, right? Including producer as well. So don't always think that producer or designer doesn't need to have any technical skill. It's not true, I would say, because from my observation, a lot of them, not I wouldn't say a lot, but I will at least say maybe half of them I encountered was either passionate, willing to learn, or pretty capable, I would say. They already have a good fundamental of the engine and also even programming to start with. Probably definitely not as deep as professional programmer, but they have a basic understanding, right? Like a designer level of understanding. And that comes in handy, especially in late stage polishing. There's always a little nitpick here and there, a little functionalities you get to implement to make the game feel a little bit better. And the engineers aren't always available for these really extremely small features, but it's a need, it's not a must. So it would be great if there's somebody else that can step up and just kill these crunch time for the engineers. And yeah, um, let me know, right? Like, let me know what type of video you guys want to watch, and if you have somebody that wants to hire, tell them I am mean. Yeah, but that's a story for another time.